Veterans Coming Home is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by Pride Stores.
I'm here with Jim Seney. He's a licensed clinical social worker. He's program manager of Community Reintegration Services for the Veterans Administration in this region. Also with us, Jason Allen. He is a veteran of the United States Army, served in the Iraq War about a decade ago. He is now a certified peer specialist working with other veterans who've been through some of the concerns, some of the same problems, some of the combat-related stresses that he has. And gentlemen, we thank you both for being here with us today. Jim Seney, in particular, we're talking about housing and homelessness, and just the idea of vets being homeless, I think, really turns all of our stomachs. You know, folks that have gone and given almost their all, in many cases, come back, and that's the situation they face. I just saw some federal figures from the Veterans Administration estimating that since a government program started in 2010, about 51,000 vets nationwide have been placed in homes. But they estimate there's still about 50,000 American veterans of all wars still not with a place to hang their hat at night. How serious is the problem here in our region?
I think the problem in our area is rather serious. We've done a great job working with community partners, with federal programs that have been combined, the HUD-VASH program, which is a great combination of federal bureaucracy, you might say, in the HUD program and the federal bureaucracy of the VA actually getting together and collaborating and working together to create the HUD-VASH program. VASH stands for Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing. So it's essentially taking a VA program that had been in existence for a long time, essentially a Section 8 housing for veterans, and combining it with the muscle of HUD to supercharge it and create many more vouchers available. And so that's been the big tool we've used to help house a lot of veterans. But we're not there yet. I think we've come a long way, but there's a ways to go. There's a lot of veterans, not so much on the streets anymore. I think there's been a good effort with VA and our community partners to have veterans off the streets and in transitional housing. The next step is to get those veterans out of what folks might consider a shelter, transitional housing, into permanent housing. That's the real big effort.
Jason Allen, take me back. You served, I think you said, in 2003, 2004 in Iraq, right at the start of the Iraq War. You go over, you give your all. It's a whole different kind of world. You don't just come back and lay your weapon down and go back to everyday life. And you had some tough times, as a lot of the men and women do, homeless for some period of time. Take us through it. What happened when you came back? What took you there?
Well, getting home, it was just, I didn't have the resources. I didn't reach out for the help. It was one of those things. There's nothing physically wrong with me. I don't need the help. So I just kept pushing forward. I found myself drinking a lot of drug addiction, and which ended up putting me on the streets when I was out in Colorado. I moved out there for about a year, had my own place, ran out of money, got evicted, ended up sleeping in my vehicle for quite a few months, and slowly getting back on my feet from there caused a lot of hurts at the very beginning to friends, family, people wondering why I pushed them away, why I didn't want to talk about it. And then I ended up moving back this way to Mass. I found my faith, which is a huge part for me. That's a large thing in my recovery, knowing that I'm here for a reason, that I'm not, that things didn't happen to me over there, that I'm actually here to be able to help others and keep going forward. And then I ended up getting married and having kids. And my kids were my light. Those are the children that keep me moving forward and pushing myself all the time. So
let me ask you something. If I understood you right, you talked about coming back and you weren't physically injured, if I understand you right, but
emotionally.
A lot of times, folks see that and they say, wow, you came through it without a scratch. Mm-hmm. That's not really the case, is it?
No.
Maybe physically no scratches.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no physical, but it was all emotional, just learning to, trying to talk to people about what you were going through, you couldn't. Oh, I get it. No, you don't. And you just didn't, you get to the point where you don't want to talk to anybody. And you just kind of sit in. I didn't realize it till the last couple of years. I look back, and since I've been connected in with the VA, I look back at all the ways I was acting, and I realized that I did have some real struggles, not wanting to be in large groups, wanting to have my back to the wall. I have friends at my house and I'm walking the perimeter checking to make sure everybody's safe instead of enjoying the good times that everybody was doing. And I didn't think of it back then, but that was all from being overseas and just having the heightened awareness all the time of what's around you. That's part of the reasons why I got into the drugs. It wasn't for the addiction, I don't believe. I think it was, I was feeling that I needed to fill the void of being on edge. So I started getting into things, and not that I wanted to do anything wrong, but just to fill that void that I was missing from being overseas for a year.
Jim Seney, let me ask you, this, I gather, is not an uncommon story by any means. And a lot of times you see the folks come back, and whatever the outcome, they do end up kind of disengaging from life and losing that contact, losing the job, losing the place to live. And that's where you and a lot of folks at VA and other programs come in.
We do see this. I'll say straight up that, you've seen one vet story, in the sense that they're always unique, but you do see a commonality. And what Jason's talking about, we've heard before. And I think there's a struggle between the idea that, when I was in the service, I was protecting people. I was protecting my brothers and sisters in arms. And I come back and you stay in that mode, and you realize, or you forget to understand and appreciate fully perhaps, that you have to integrate back to the civilian life. You're always, the hypervigilance, I would imagine, is really hard to let go of. And it's great to have people like Jason on staff because he educates us. He's lived it. And so VA's hired several peer specialists, we call them, and they provide a tremendous service, not just to the veterans they serve, but in lifting the veil of ignorance on people like me on the staff to understand, to fully appreciate what's going on and to redirect us constantly, because we don't understand, we haven't lived it. People like Jason has, and so that's, it's a huge, huge service. I think it's made our whole homeless effort much more in tune with where the vets are coming from.
And Jason, pick up on that. I mean, what do you say to the men and women you see now coming home, and you see some of what you were in 10, 12 years or so ago, 10 years ago, or maybe a little less than that. Yeah. And, you say, here's what happened to me. Here's how you can avoid it. Here's how you don't end up out of job. Here's how you don't end up homeless.
Well, one of the things I would say is to stay connected with the vets. Get into some type of group or something that's going on where you can have the common ground as a veteran. I know that's the one thing that's helped me the most just in the past couple of years, being able to work with my fellow vets and helping them. And sitting in groups and talking about those things, finally, after many years of holding it in, you have someone to say, hey, I did that too. And they actually truly understand what it is that you went through. So I would highly suggest if there's any group near them, close to them, the colleges are all offering them nowadays. Outside the VA, there's tons of nonprofits out there that are doing different types of events. Go get around your fellow vets and have conversations and build the bonds back, the bondship.
Well, Jim Seney, Jason Allen, it's an important story to tell. Thanks for coming in and helping us tell it.
Thank you for having us.
Veterans Coming Home is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by Pride Stores. WGBY is proud to partner with the VA Central Western Massachusetts, Soldier On, and the Bilingual Veterans Outreach Centers of Massachusetts to support veterans in their successful transition to civilian life. Information at wgby.veteranscominghome.org.